Mutant Mayhem is great and all, but does it have the Raph vs. Leo fight? No? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Why you booing me? I'm right.
Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go, 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 go.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been around for a long time, and even though they haven't always held center stage in public perception, the franchise has pretty much gone from strength to strength since Eastman and Laird's original comic book first hit shelves in '84. Well, except for that time they made a Christmas special.
Take the holes with pepperoni. Fa la 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 la.
And I guess that third movie from the 90s wasn't very good either. Oh, coming out of their shells was a thing too, wasn't it? Yeah, I forgot they did a concert tour.
It isn't burgers or french fries, the work for turtles of our size.
Operation Blue Line exists too, because turtles need to use trains too.
Hey, Michelangelo, aren't you buying a ticket?
Don't have to, dude. I already bought an RTD monthly pass.
And nobody's forgetting about Next Mutation either. Oh, and there was that time they talked about fucking April on Oprah, wasn't there?
I've been trying to talk her into an interspecies relationships for months now.
Whoa, Raph, chill, man.
And she won't do it, huh?
She can't hold her breath.
No, she can't do it.
The biggest problem is she can't hold her breath long enough, you know?
Well, okay, coming up the turtle...
Okay, look, there's been some bumps in the road, but when fans have consistently gotten great stuff like the '03 cartoon over the years, they are more than willing to forgive the franchise for putting out a dud every now and then. In fact, it's the series' willingness to explore new creative mediums that led to the creation of the 2007 animated film TMNT. TMNT occupies an interesting space within the Turtles fandom because unlike a lot of other series and movies where fans overwhelmingly either love or hate said series or movie, the fanbase's opinion of TMNT changes from fan to fan. Some fans love it, some fans hate it, some fans think it's alright, and some fans just like the Raph vs. Leo fight and ignore the rest of the movie. Don't worry, we'll talk about that later. Personally, I love the movie, and it is easily one of my favorite depictions of the Turtles in a half shell. This video is not a critique of TMNT, it's a letter of appreciation. So if you wanted a thoughtful deconstruction of this movie about 4 walking talking turtles who learned kung fu from a talking rat, then you are in the wrong place, my friend. Man, fuck TMNT 2007 haters. All my homies hate TMNT 2007 haters. Seriously, there's the door. If you aren't down to gush about this movie, then leave. Just go. Don't call me. Don't come by my house. We're done. Also, spoilers for this movie from 2007. Anyway, let's go!
Oh, I love being a turtle.
But first things first, let's get the biz out of the way. Despite what I have just told you, there are things wrong with this movie. Sir, we've just learned that there is in fact flaws within TMNT from 2007. No, that's impossible. TMNT from 2007 is perfect. It can do no wrong. Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete. Oh, God, I'm a fuck. I don't really have anything new to add to this conversation, as pretty much everybody has these same problems with this movie. First of all, the villains suck. Instead of going with a pre-existing Turtles villain, they created these stone general characters that actually have a really deep and meaningful symbolism behind them. See, they are made of stone to represent the fact that these characters might as well literally be statues because they have zero personality and add nothing to the film other than being something for the Turtles to fight. I mean, some, including myself, would argue that's enough, but they definitely missed a trick by not incorporating a more entertaining villain. And yes, this whole criticism applies to Winters too, even though he at least has a little more depth. But if the generals are flat concrete, then Winters is a puddle.
And don't forget about me, Grace.
The story is also serviceable at best and nonsensical at worst. The family dynamics and the conflict between the turtles is great. The story about the 13 monsters and the immortal guy from thousands of years ago and his stone generals... You suck! Go home! Where's Baxter Stockman? Where's Shredder? Where's the fucking... I the Triceratops things from space. Hell, I'll take Crane. Give me something. But go home. Make Raph and Leo fight again. The story is just an excuse for the turtles to fight together and crack one-liners, but the story revolving around Winters and the monsters arguably just takes away from the far more interesting drama playing out between the turtles. Well, actually, the drama playing out between Raph and Leo. Yeah, that leads me into the last big criticism of this movie. Mikey and Donnie are totally ignored in this movie in favor of playing up the conflict between Raph and Leo. I mean, at least Mikey gets a fun skateboard sequence. Donnie gets nothing except for his little intro where he gets sexually harassed.
No, I'm not playing hard to get. I'm telling you, sir, it's not that kind of phone line.
Look, Raph and Leo have always been my favorite turtles though, so this never really bothered me too much. But this movie isn't called Leonardo and Raphael, it's called TMNT. We expect to get all 4 turtles. Although the film's director, Kevin Munro, has said that he planned for this movie to start a trilogy and that in the second film, Mikey would have joined the Foot Clan. So maybe he was just saving Mikey and Donnie for later films. In summary, the only 2 aspects of this film that really drag it down are the story and character work, which I know is a deal breaker for a lot of people, which is understandable considering that telling a compelling story is one of the main objectives of a film. Just trust me on this, okay? I got my movie degree from movie school. I'm kind of an expert, okay? I've seen Taxi Driver. It's not as good as this movie, but I've seen it. Yes, critics of this film will always trash it for having 0 character development and an underwhelming story, which is totally justified, but these omissions have never really bothered me because the conflict between the turtles has always scratched that itch for me. But that's it. I love everything else about this movie. Before we get too deep into the praise, I cannot talk about this movie without first mentioning the absolutely stacked cast list. We have Captain America himself, Chris Evans as Casey Jones.
That's actually hilarious.
Sarah Michelle Gellar from Scooby-Doo fame.
And it wasn't gender specific, it wasn't a boys cartoon or a girls cartoon or any of those things.
It was a talking dog, you know what I mean?
Oh, and she also did this little indie project called Buffy the Vampire Slayer as April O'Neil. Patrick Stewart voices the villain Winters.
You motherfuckers are gonna kill all my lilies!
We've got the GOAT, Marco himself as Master Splinter, Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, James Arnold Taylor voices Leonardo, Nolan North voices Raphael, John DiMaggio is here, every clone trooper ever, aka D. Bradley Baker shows up, Phil Lamar's here, Tara Strong's here, Jennifer Hale's here, for some reason Kevin Smith voices a diner cook and they somehow managed to pull Lawrence Fishburne into the narrator role. Oh, and if I didn't list who said actor was playing, it's because they're just listed as additional voices in the credits. But seriously, not only did this film manage to pull a bunch of A-list celebs to lend their voice talents, they also managed to scoop up a group of the most famous voice actors of all time to fill out the rest of the cast. Who knew so many people wanted to be in a Ninja Turtles movie? It goes without saying that everybody does a great job in the film and I have no complaints towards the voice cast. Also, a special shout out to this little song that Splinter sings. But what about the animation and the art style? After all, this is an animated film. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that this film is one of the most beautifully animated films ever made, because it's not. Make no mistake, for 2007, this looked pretty damn good, but come on, the B-movie came out that year as well. This movie had no chance. The B-movie made $287 million at the box office? What? What I mean to say is that the film undoubtedly looks great for its time and maybe even a little bit better, but the visuals have aged significantly since 07. But if you're like me and watch this movie with rose-tinted glasses, then the visuals are flawless. Seriously though, while the animation definitely shows its age, especially in the human character models— Did someone say hourglass? The film makes great use of dynamic light and shadow to give the animation a nice bit of polish while also hiding some of the imperfections. The film's moody color and lighting is what helps the animation stay up to scratch, and it gives the film a great look. The art direction is also incredibly strong. Every design brings each character up to date while also keeping them instantly recognizable. I mean, this movie still has my favorite turtle designs of all time. The city and environments here are also much moodier than what we usually get with the Turtles and pay a perfect homage to the original Mirage comics. This is the edgy Ninja Turtles movie, and it's one of the reasons I love it so much. The score here is also pretty solid, and the soundtrack scatters in a few 2000s rock songs for good measure. But enough generalization, now I want to talk about the actual movie. Let me just get through the credits. Is it gone? I can't stand that guy. This little intro at the start of the movie does a great job of reintroducing the Turtles and bringing us up to speed with where they are at this point. You know who the Turtles are, Shredder is dead, bada bing, bada boom, movie start.
Nothing could stand in their way.
Oh, my bad, I put in my Blu-ray copy of Troy. No, wait, this is still TMNT, this is just that bland Stone General thing I was talking about. I have nothing to say about this. One of my favorite parts of this film is seeing the Turtles being forced to follow their own paths for a while. We see Leo being a vigilante in Central America and straight up killing fools. And we get a nice parallel between him and Raph as we get to see Raph also doing some vigilante work under his new identity of the Night Watcher. And god damn, Raphael is so cool in this movie. Like, look at this, he's got the armor, the bike, oh. Donnie is passing the time by playing tech support, and Mikey is a glorified punching bag for little kids. I love seeing what the Turtles do when they are forced apart, and it makes it so much more satisfying when they come back together. Also, April is looking real fine in this movie, exaggerated proportions and all. I didn't know what to do with these feelings when I was a kid, but now, whew, let's not even go there. One of the most interesting points of this film is that for most of the runtime, the Turtles are divided. Leo's on some personal development excursion in Central America to become a better leader by being by himself. Look, I know I said I love this movie, I didn't say it was without its flaws. It's like a dog with 3 legs. It's not perfect, but I don't love it any less, okay? Then, back at home, Mikey, Donnie, and Raph just straight up don't hang out anymore. And when they do, Raph just wants to pick a fight with everyone. Splinter doesn't care though, he's too busy watching Gilmore Girls.
We interrupt the Gilmore Girls for this special news report.
I'm not saying that we haven't already seen a bunch of other stories where the Turtles are at each other's throats, but it's always interesting to see a team who are usually in perfect sync with one another totally fall apart, overcome their issues, and then come back even stronger. They're a family. It's only natural. And in the wise words of Dominic Toretto, family. I'm trying to do a Vin Diesel, but I don't know if I can get my voice that growly. Family. It's all about family. Hey, you got a corona. April and Casey do their part in the story too. April is the one who convinces Leo to come back, and she brings the Stone Generals to Winters. Casey helps too.
Hope that wasn't expensive.
Of course, we get another exposition dump, blah blah blah, these statues are my family. See, there's a parallel narrative in this movie, it is good! Winters hires the Foot Clan to hunt down the 13 monsters, and the Foot Clan are also in this movie. I do actually really like what they do with the Foot Clan in this movie. Since the Shredder is dead, they're totally lost and are basically just mercenaries now. They don't really do much in the film, and Karai is just sort of here. She doesn't really do anything in the movie, but they do look cool and the hips don't lie.
I'm about to skip this shit. Skip. But when does this game get fucking good?
Casey finds out that Raph is the Night Watcher, and they have a nice little moment on the roof. Leo comes back home in the coolest way possible, and the Turtles begin to work through their issues. Raph is so cold to Leo in this scene, and it's honestly sad.
Hey. Welcome home.
The movie instantly gets a massive shot in the arm when the four are reunited because the chemistry between the group is awesome in this movie, and their clashing points of view make for some great moments. I especially like Donnie's joke about Mikey having a driver's license.
Hey Don, you're so smart. Why don't we have jetpacks?
Yeah, that's good, Mikey. I don't even trust you with a driver's license. Have you seen the way this guy behaves?
This of course suggests that Mikey has a driver's license, which makes zero sense to me. Like, did he just walk into the DMV in Raph's hat and trench coat setup, pass a driver's test, and get his photo taken without anyone finding out he was a walking, talking turtle? What does he do when he gets pulled over? His van isn't exactly subtle. Do the cops just think he's always in costume? These questions keep me up at night.
What happened, mate? What's going on?
I'm just waiting for a mate.
Is that why your car's all smashed up and you're up on the grass at the moment, or what?
Yeah. I'm just waiting for a mate. He's gone in there.
This scene also establishes that Leo hates the Night Watcher for some reason, even though he probably only just found out he exists like an hour ago.
This Night Watcher character's come into the neighborhood like some kind of vigilante showboat, but his days are done.
Bro probably saw a news report and for some reason decided that he must track down and stop this vigilante, even though he's been doing the exact same thing for years. He doesn't even kill people. Like, why would Leo have a problem with this guy? It makes no sense.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Then we of course get our first scene with all four turtles in action fighting the Foot and this giant monkey, and it's awesome. There's this sick shot of them walking on a crane, and Raph just totally ignores Leo for the entire time, and the other turtles follow him against Splinter's orders. Then there's the moment where Raph dives off of the side of the building as the monster and the turtles crash through the floors next to him, and then he grinds on this cable and you can tell the director has a hard-on for Raphael because he gives him all the cool moments in this movie. But by far my favorite aspect of the scene is that the turtles get the absolute shit kicked out of them. The scene shows their complete lack of communication, and it's clear that the team isn't what they used to be. When you compare this scene against the final fight later on, it shows a nice progression. Then we see the turtles the next morning, and I love the contrast between how Raph and Leo are eating cereal in this moment. Raph is straight up assaulting his bowl, and Leo is calmly eating his cereal while he death stares Raph.
Fills me with pride to see you boys together again.
They're clearly pissed at each other, but the contrast in their body language is just brilliant. They get busted for fighting when Splinter told them not to, and we get more bickering between the turtles. And while all of this is happening, Winters and the Stone Generals keep rounding up more monsters. Look, I know that I am almost totally ignoring the stuff with the villains in this movie, but that's just because there's nothing to talk about here. I understand that it's a little unconvincing when I say that I love this movie and then totally skip over entire scenes, but the fact is that the stuff with the turtles in this movie is so good that I have no problem sitting through scenes that actually progress what little plot there is. I don't dislike them, but there's nothing to talk about here. Raph meets back up with Casey, they run into the Stone Fellas, Raph gasses Casey and gets a throwing star in the shell. The turtles show up at April and Casey's, and hey, the whole gang's back together again. It's nice seeing the whole squad together again, even if as soon as Raph starts walking again, he straight up quits the team. He blows off some steam by going out as the Night Watcher and proceeds to get his ass kicked by a little red goblin. He does manage to turn the fight around, and he starts beating the shit out of the little fella and scares the critter off by smoke bombing his digestive tract. Raph continues to intimidate Kevin Smith and... Woo! Yes, baby, yes! Yes, it's happening! We're here, man! Let's go! TMNT 2007 is a good movie in general, but the Raph versus Leo fight is just incredible. From the moment that the chase starts, you just feel this reinvigorating sense of energy and movement. We get these huge camera moves as the pair jump and tumble through the city. There is a huge bassy score behind all of it, and the color from the neon signs on the street make the scene really pop. But then Leo corners the Night Watcher on the roof and it just keeps getting better. It's raining, there's this beautiful red glow from the neon sign behind them lighting the scene, and the dark moody rooftop sets the stage perfectly. What's really great about this fight is that it's a clash between the two brothers' opposing personalities. Leo's desire to lead is a direct attack on Raph's desire for independence, and in this fight it all comes to a head. I mean, mean, Leo's first instinct is to lecture this stranger that he hates for no good reason, and Raph's first instinct is to turn to violence. It's a physical manifestation of two brothers insisting they are both right instead of accepting and embracing their differences. The actual fight itself is breathtaking. The hand-to-hand combat is remarkably fluid. The contrast between Raph's aggressive style and Leo's looser combat is a nice touch, and I love how Leo really gets under Raph's skin at the start of the fight. Also, check out this killer uppercut. Then after Leo finds out that Raph is the Night Watcher, the real truth about why the two can't stand each other comes out. Raph is clearly mad at Leo for abandoning the turtles, and even though he doesn't outright say it, you can easily figure out that it's what he really means. And Leo is clearly frustrated because Raph refuses to change who he is and fall in line, even though that's just not who he is. The two can't find common ground, and it turns into a dick-swinging competition to find out who is better and therefore who is right. That's what this fight is really about. It's about two brothers who refuse to meet in the middle and resort to violence to determine who deserves to lead instead of working together. In the wise words of Limp Bizkit, it's my way or the highway. We then witness the single best fight in the history of Ninja Turtles, and yes, I will die on this hill. When these two start clashing swords, it is beautiful. The personal factor of this fight makes it so much more powerful, and the pair do not hold back. There is an aggression in this fight that we rarely see in this franchise, and it shows. Raph is so angry. He manages to snap Leo's katanas. My man has no chill. Then when Raph finally beats Leo and has him dead to rights, only to realize what he has just done, the pure shock on his face is breathtaking.
What have I done?
He's so overcome with guilt and shame that he runs away crying. It's heavy stuff, man. Then as if that wasn't bad enough, Leo gets captured by the Stone Generals, and after Raph fails to save him, he has to come to terms with the fact that he is to blame for all of this. I mean, listen to the pain in his voice at the end here. Nolan North was cooking in the voice booth that day, dog. Even though the movie as a whole is divisive within the TMNT fanbase, the opinion on this scene is unanimous. It's one of the best in the entire franchise. The emotion, the action, it's all there and it just comes across beautifully. I mean, honestly, we can just stop talking about the movie now because it peaks with this scene. The Raph vs. Leo fight is cinematic perfection. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you all next time. Hang on, let's not leave prematurely, because there are still some pretty great moments in the final act of this film. Raph returns to the lair and shares a beautiful moment with Splinter where he comes to understand why Leo is the leader of the group, and Splinter reminds him that just because Raph is a hothead, that does not mean that he is lesser than any of his brothers, even Leonardo. Also, I've always thought that because Mikey comes in and eavesdrops at some point during the conversation, it would have been hilarious if Splinter was like, "That does not mean that you are not my favorite son. Mikey is my least favorite." And then that turns out to be the reason why he would have joined the Foot in the next movie. Raph's confession about Leo to Splinter hits hard, and the call to arms Splinter gives as a result made me sprout a single chest hair when I was but a wee boy. Leo's capture is the catalyst that brings the turtles back together, and it's the wake-up call that they all needed. The gang gears up to take the fight to Winters, and
I got it on my last trip to Japan. You like it?
Nope, not a word. Cowabunga Carl distracts the Foot while the turtles sneak into the building, and inside, Winters is betrayed by his generals after they decide that they actually like being statues after all. Then we get this great action sequence with the turtles taking on an army of Foot Clan soldiers where they actually work together again. See, this movie does have character growth. The gang make their way inside.
You break it, you buy it.
I love a callback. The squad rescues Leo, Raph and Leo make up, Winters eats shit. The Turtles team up with Winters and the Foot Clan so that they can close the portal. Casey, April, and Karai go out to find the last monster, and the Turtles fight the Stone Generals. I love that Raph is the one who gets to fight the leader too instead of Leo. It's a nice touch considering what they literally just fought about. It's a cool fight. I love the moment where Leo crashes into a sword case and equips everything. There's no practicality to this strategy, but it sure looks cool. Splinter absolutely solos the monsters coming out of the portal, and I love that they finish the fight by kicking the generals into the portal in sync to show that they're a fully functioning team again. Casey and April bring back the final monster, they send the generals and the monsters through the portal, Winters disintegrates, Mikey snorts him. End of movie. Well, okay, there's a little bit more. We get this nice scene where Splinter puts Winter's helmet onto a shelf that's also holding items from the 3 previous live-action movies, which seemingly confirms that this film takes place in the same timeline and is basically Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, at least according to the director. Personally, I've always treated this movie as its own thing, but it does make it a little cooler knowing that these are the same turtles from those other movies. The scene also sees Raph give up his Night Watcher helmet and Mikey give up his Cowabunga Carl mask in a nice bit of closure for both characters. We end the movie on a sequence of the turtles traversing the city rooftops as a unit again, reunited, reinvigorated, and ready to fight crime once again as brothers. God damn, man, I love this movie. Don't get me wrong, every time I watch it, I do it with rose-tinted glasses. I grew up with this movie on repeat, these are my Ninja Turtles, and I could not have asked for a better adaptation. Like I said, this wasn't a critique, although I do think that I pointed out enough flaws to avoid blindly praising this movie. I look at this movie the same way I look at the animated Transformers movie from 1986. Yes, the movie isn't perfect, and it has a notable list of flaws, but I just don't care because it's still a 10 out of 10 in my eyes.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
TMNT 2007 is an edgy love letter to the Ninja Turtles of past and present. It has the action and the grit of the 03 cartoon and the campiness of the original 80s series. It's not perfect, but then again, what really is. Now, like I previously said, there were plans to make this movie part of an animated trilogy, with the second movie loosely adapting the City at War comic book storyline, and the third movie would have introduced the Triceratons, at least according to the director Kevin Monroe. But any hopes of a sequel to this gem of a movie were utterly annihilated after the animation studio behind the movie, Imagi, I'm pretty sure it's Imagi, maybe that one, I don't know, one of those things. I'll put it up here, you read it for yourself. Went bankrupt after their Astro Boy movie bombed at the box office and caused the studio to shut down. Thanks Astro Boy, you fucking asshole. A sequel probably would have happened too, considering that TMNT actually made a modest profit at the box office thanks to its small budget. But unfortunately, TMNT 2007 would end up being the last time we saw this version of the Turtles. Well, at least they went out in style. Thanks for watching, guys. I've wanted to make this video for a while, so I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on TMNT 2007. I'm incredibly curious to see what people really think of this movie. Until next time, guys, look after yourselves, and as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Wait, hold on, I forgot to talk about the video game.